I really wanted to film this outside because Rubio loved nature, but Melbourne's raining at the moment and yeah, it's not nice outside. I also wanted to wear a blue dress because she really loved the colour bubblegum blue, so I thought it was a nice thing to wear for this. Alright, this might be hard. Hi everyone, for those of you in Canada who don't know me, my name is Meg. I'm Rubio's Australian best friend. We met while tree planting in Australia and lived and worked together for a long time. I've always called her Rubio or Rubes, and I'll refer to her as that here. Writing this feels really surreal. It's hard to sum up someone who meant so much to me. Someone who radiated so much vibrance and curiosity. Rubes was so uniquely herself, and capturing her spirit in words feels almost impossible, but I'll do my best. When I first met Rubio, she was a legend in the tree planting world. A tough as nails, often unbeatable worker who was fearlessly competitive and never complained. She was known as a highballer, which for those of you who don't know is a title granted in the tree planting world for the hardest working planters. I was honestly quite intimidated by her presence. On days when it was too hot, too cold, or the rain just wouldn't let up, Rubes was often the only one who would still be out there. She would be smashing trees into the dirt, listening to audiobooks or the Sound of Music soundtrack, wearing an op-shopped men's suit shirt or Vegemite print short shorts, and grabbing every extra tray of trees she could, all the while looking completely relaxed and unbothered by the elements. I called her Rubio Highballer Harmsworth, a name she truly earned. She was a crazy million tree planting beast, and it was truly inspiring. If I were to ask anyone in Australia who planted alongside her, they'd also say the same thing. When they think of Rubes, one word comes to mind, and it's tough. And it was one of my favourite things about her. Australia was her second home. She loved the bush, the bird song, the smells and the lifestyle. She loved the colours green, mango and bubblegum blue. She loved watching mukbangs and niche YouTube gadget reviews. She loved a big Aiken and bacon sandwich. The Sound of Music, especially the songs sung by the Nuns, geocaching, the movie Milan and the character Morticia from the Addams Family. She loved catching lizards, drinking coffee in a cute or funny mug, origami and cooking her special vegan dal recipe. She loved to wear grandma-style fashion, make miniature Legos and listen to medieval techno. She loved hummus and at times was basically made up of 50% hummus, 40% spicy noodles and 10% everything else. She loved a good book, a cluttered thrift shop, a sweet old lady with a good story, spoon carving, beating me at Mancala or any other kind of card game. Hiking mountains, jumping spiders, Dolly Parton and Elvis Presley. She also loved finding green tree frogs, lazing in bed with her Switch, collecting recyclables, rollerblading, macro photography and new camping gear, especially if it was ultralight and or the colour green. She loved so many things and was so many things. She was curious and liked people who were confidently themselves and made people feel comfortable just being themselves. I'll miss how she could make any place feel like home, whether it was her cabin, van, room or tent. She'd decorate with trinkets, fairy lights, random teapot sets and other little bits and pieces. I'll miss how she always said yes to my odd ideas, like dancing in animal masks or modelling my quirky creations. She always supported people's interests, often without judgment, and I loved that about her. I'll miss our silly chats about life, how many beach bum babies we'd have, what we'd name them. She was into witchy names like Beatrix or Morticia, and where our homes would be. We agreed they'd be built side by side, mine from an old aeroplane and hers from a renovated bus, with a shared creative studio in between. We also talked about things we'd collect as we got older. She wanted teapots, chopsticks and hot sauce bottles. She dreamed of having an entire wall dedicated to hot sauce bottles, which I always thought was pretty cool. I'll really miss her deep admiration for nature. She had the best eye for spotting the coolest looking insects, birds, and her favourite lizards. I'll miss how she often made you stop and slow down to really look or listen to nature. I'll miss how much she loved the ocean, lazing on the beach and calling herself a lizard, or the lizard wizard with a tattoo made to match. I'll miss our thrifting adventures, often enabling each other to buy silly things neither of us needed. I'll miss her bursts of inspiration when she'd declare she wanted to become a minimalist and suggested a clean out day, only for us to go through our clothes and end up swapping them instead of getting rid of anything. I'll miss sending her stupid animal memes and receiving her song recommendations or the cool art she knew I'd love. Before she moved back to Canada, we hiked the Larapinta Trail together. For 9 days, we crossed the West MacDonnell Ranges, which is a small mountain range in the very middle of an enormous desert in Central Australia, surrounded by red dirt which spans as far as the eye can see. We referred to ourselves in the walker's logbook as me, Zelda Zucchini, and her, Gypsy Orangutan. During the trip, we ran out of food for about 3 days. We weren't great at planning and ended up living off a strange turmeric chia seed mix that Rubio insisted we bring. It made us super hangry and very miserable, but we laughed through the pain, swam in creeks, shared a tent full of flies, and brushed our teeth with breathtaking mountain views. That trip was really special. I'd found my hiking match, someone who thrived on tough challenges and could smile through blisters and tendinitis. The harder it got, the better. We liked the pain of it, and I'll always be grateful for that trip. Later, we met back up and spent 6 weeks in South America, trekking in the remote Andes, high in the mountains, carrying 14 days worth of food and only seeing the odd Peruvian cowboy or stray dog to keep us company. You might think you'd get sick of being with the same person for so long, sharing a tent, sharing food, but something I loved about Rubes and me was that we really could just ramble and yap, talking for hours, sometimes about serious things, other times silly things, and often playing a constant chain of would you rather. After many years, this never got old and only got weirder. Everything was just so much fun, and the stories from that trip will forever make me laugh, cry, and smile. She was my best friend, truly a sister to me, sometimes a younger one, and sometimes an older one, depending on what either of us needed. We had so many dreams, hikes, and future adventures yet to be achieved together. Her decision is something I'm still struggling to understand and will be something I continue to work through. However, I'm deeply grateful for the years we had together. She's left a huge mark on my life, gave me memories I will forever hold tightly to. I'll end with a quote Rubes had pinned to her Facebook, one that I love and believe we should live by. The secret to living longer and better: eat half, walk twice, laugh triple, and love without measure.